This is Bucket Talk, a weekly podcast for people who work in the trades and construction that aren't just trying to survive, but have the ambition and desire to thrive. The opportunity in the trades and construction is absolutely ridiculous right now. So if you're hungry, it's time to eat. We discuss what it takes to rise from the bottom to the top with people who are well on their way and roll up their sleeves every single day.
All right, on this episode of Bucket Talk, we're here with Dirty Water Don. Don, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, Don, you're a diver by trade, correct?
Yes, I am a certified underwater welder. I went to school for diving, and then once I got into local 1556, which those who don't know is the New York City dock builders and timbermen, pile drivers and divers. From there, I did take any class they offered me. And they eventually, I was certified as a commercial diver, but as an underwater welder. A lot of divers can weld underwater. I'm not going to say they can't, but there's not many that are actually certified.
Okay.
So that was one little notch in the belt that I got throughout the union. And, of course, your rigging certs and all your other certifications you can get just makes you cooler. But I can actually say I'm an actual underwater welder because the paperwork says it.
So how'd you get into it?
Well, diving was never really on my radar. When I graduated high school, I went to school for aeronautical engineering. So before you see all this cool collected kid in front of you, I was a little nerdy kid who was in the Young Astronauts Club, and I just the thought of space travel really intrigued me. So I thought I couldn't do the military thing, so I figured I'd go to school for aeronautical engineering, get real good at it because I was a good mechanic, good with my hands. I figured I'll just scoop my way in there and work for NASA eventually. That didn't happen. I graduated and they found out if you have any kind of misdemeanors or felonies, anything in your background, you can't touch aircrafts. Now, if you ask me, that should be in the brochure. They should tell you that's where they take your money.
Yep.
So from there, I worked for, I went and worked for the railroad for a little bit doing freight. I did a lot of odds ends jobs, did a bunch of everything. And then I started hooked up with this company in International Tank Services, ITS, out of Lima, Ohio. Right? They built storage tanks for jet fuel, kerosene, diesel, tar, you name it. They built storage facilities to house these things. So I was working out there, and my foreman, Augie, never forget this guy. He talked like he was dumb. That man would do quantum physics with some soapstone and a piece of steel. Man was sharp as a nail. And he
really?
I said to him, hey, being this job is so dangerous, you should pay me more. And he laughed. He's like, sweetheart, it's not even top 10. So I Googled, at the time, my ex-wife, she Googled world's most dangerous job. Because I was intrigued now to see what was so dangerous out there. And commercial diving, underwater welding came up on the list. So I figured, well, I can't be an astronaut because I'm not allowed to touch airplanes or spaceships. But maybe there's an Armageddon moment, the Earth needs me. I'm cheaper than an astronaut. I'll go be an aquanaut, and then maybe backdoor NASA that way.
Yeah.
And then I went to school and became a commercial diver, and the rest is history.
Hey, some say we never went to the moon. They actually went down into the ocean. So technically, if that's true, you are an astronaut.
Technically. And listen, technicalities have kept me out of prison. So I love a good technicality.
There you go. So, you've done some pretty friggin' cool stuff. I don't know. Some of our listeners may know of you, may have seen you on TV, may have seen you in collaborations, but you're all over the place. And
I'm like an ADD squirrel.
The first time I really got a taste of you was you were working with Heavy D and Diesel Dave on this mammoth hunt in New York Harbor, and you guys intrigued me with the clip. I had the Coast Guard coming in. I'm Coast Guard.
There's a lot of Coast Guard involved that day.
But that was a super cool thing. Like, how'd you get involved with that? Like, was this something?
It wasn't really my idea to do that. We were on a press tour for the Discovery Channel. Our show Sewer Divers aired. That in of itself was an amazing experience. But we were supposed to shoot a television show that was supposed to debut on the Discovery Plus platform. right? It wasn't supposed to go anywhere more than that. And then it was supposed to air January 1st of 2023. On December 27th, they called us and they say, listen, you're not going on Discovery Plus platform. And we were like, well, what do you mean? You're going to go straight to Discovery Channel. You're going to go at 9 o'clock right after Dirty Jobs, which was crazy. It was like, what? That's prime time for the type of television we were shooting. We were just flabbergasted just the fact that we were, following up with Mike Rowe. By the way, Mike Rowe, you're an awesome guy. I love you. And we did that. And we're currently on a press tour in the month of January doing a couple news stations and a couple newspapers. And we were just doing the ropes there. And Joe Rogan had John Reeds on his podcast. Now, my brother John is a huge Joe Rogan fan. So John calls me and tells me. John. So John Reeds has a piece of property in Alaska. And for some rhyme or reason, scientists can't confirm on why this is. But there's millions of specimens of prehistoric animals that ended up on this small claim of land. And no one knows why they're there. Anytime he digs, he finds something. Whether it be camel remains, mammoth remains, steep bison remains, rhino remains. He finds it, right? So my brother, at our premiere party, my brother's telling me about this episode of Rogan. He's like, bro, it's the East River. That's your backyard. That's what you do. And where it is, where they supposedly they dump these things, it was the real treacherous diving. So I was like, fuck it, what I got to lose? I'll go out there. So the next day, we strap up, throw our gear in the boat, and we go out there. And we dove 276 times before we found anything. We found 3 specimens after we were told by countless naysayers and newspapers and news stations there's nothing there. We find 3 specimens. So during this search, we hooked up with the Diesel brothers because they're always down for the cause. They're down for whatever. Just have a good time. Let's break shit, kind of guys. And we were talking back and forth. They're also alumni from the Discovery platform, so the line of communication from us to them wasn't that difficult. And we're like, hey, why don't you come out here? I'll strap you in a helmet and throw you the bottom of the East River. What do you say? And they were all about it. Diesel Dave dove like 7 times. He loved it. Yeah, we got real taste. The bug bit him. And we had a really good time with them. We were with them for 3 days. Like I said, like you said, the Coast Guard boarded our vessel because somebody.
Give a little background on why they did it.
So somebody called the New York City Police Department, the NYPD, and said that there's this vessel out here, and a occupant on the vessel was brandishing a rifle. Now, nothing we had that day remotely even looked like a firearm, let alone was a firearm. There wasn't even like a flare gun on the boat that could have been misconstrued. There was nothing. And so NYPD comes, they pull up to us, they ask for who's in charge on the radio. I get on the radio, I tell them who I am, what we're doing, and he's kind of suggested we were too close to a ferry slip. But I had one of those digital tapes to tell you how far you are for shit, and I was exactly 101 feet away. I'm like, my man, I'm 101 feet away. I'm within the tolerance of where I'm allowed to be. And he's like, okay, you'll have a good day. And he left. Then 3 minutes later, after our lawyer left, because he had to catch a flight, so our lawyer, or the Diesel Brothers lawyer, gets on a boat and leaves, right? Because we're winding the day down. He leaves. Diesel Dave's like, let me do one more dive. I'm like, fine, one more dive. He puts the hat on, he gets in. As he's coming out of the water, 10 Coast Guard boats surround us. And they tell us, now you can't leave. And they had us there for about 2 hours. They had us there. They boarded our vessel, checked all of our paperwork. Everyone was wearing PPE. Our boat that we used, we got from Madeline Marine Construction. Now, the owner, Randy King there, he's like by the book, right? Everything he does, he's by the book with it. And we had one of his captains. Shout out to Chevy, best captain I know. And he had everything in order. It wasn't some like fly-by-night operation, which I think the cops expected. And then Heavy D gets on the radio. Like, listen, guys, you can't keep us here. You better give us a reason to detain us or let us go. And, everything ended very friendly. And they were just doing a job. I understand that someone called it in and they were doing a job. And they were very respectful. We were respectful. And we parted friends. But it was about 2.5 hours of our lives we were detained there for. All in the pursuit of mammoth bones.
Not only mammoth bones, but mammoth bones in the East River. I mean, you figure you'd find that'd be the last thing you're looking for in the East River,
Well, it's
to be
funny
honest
because
with
I
you.
think the same thing. Like, you're never going to find anything out there. And if you look back, right, in like 2012, I think it was, like the year could be wrong, but a fisherman found a tusk in the middle of the East River fishing by accident and turned it over to
Mhm.
New York City Parks Department. When they were
No
digging
shit.
out by Battery Park, a contracting company found a femur bone and a tusk over by Battery Park in the East River. So specimens have been found. Now, if the story is true, 50 tons of bones is a lot. It's a boxcar
Yeah.
worth. And they're scattered all over the East River now.
But they're buried in sand and silt, and I mean, it's
Yeah,
murky
so
down there.
our steep bison femur bone we found was under 3.5 feet of mud.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was buried. I go down there with a probe, and I have a grid system, and I probe the mud line because you're not going to find him sitting on top. It's going to be buried. And I'm probing. I hit something. I dig. Okay, a bottle, a railroad tie, a piece of timber, and you just keep moving along in your grid system. And our 276 dive, we found the lower jawbone to a steep bison. And then 90th dive, we found the femur bone. And then in
What'd you do
between
with
that,
them?
we found a piece of ivory.
Yeah, what'd you end up doing with them? Because I'm online right now looking at mammoth tusk price, and a 68-inch mammoth tusk is like 30 grand.
They're a little pricey. Yep. Well, the femur bone is our nicest, most pristine specimen out of all the stuff.
Yep.
And we promised that bone to Rogan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Good
so
stuff.
we that one got all gift wrapped and all ready to go. And when we go on Rogan, we're gifting it to him.
Oh, sweet. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, he was
So,
he was the grandfather to make all this happen.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be gifted to him.
Nice. And then, tell me more about what was the show? Sewer rats, sewer divers.
Sewer divers. It was funny when we first when they first called us to do the show. I thought it was like fake, right?
Yeah.
So this woman kept emailing me and calling me to do a TV show, and I'm like, I'm busy looking for the Prince of Persia's gold right now. You're next in my email chain. You know, I'll take care of your TV show when I'm done with the Prince of Persia. She didn't find my antics funny, and you know, she emailed me a few times, right, throughout the 6 months, like 10 times. So finally, I responded. I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? They want to do a show of us diving in human excrement and shit in sewers, and call the show Tough Shit. So we filmed this 6-episode mini series with the observation that it was going to be called Tough Shit. And at the very last minute, they changed the name to Sewer Divers. So basically, the premise of the show is the underbelly of major cities in our area and how they deal with the waste.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you got, working in reservoirs to sewer base or backed up basements. I mean, this is pretty cool stuff. Rancid meat clog.
The ratings were crazy. We didn't expect the ratings.
Yeah.
Like, we had really good ratings with that show, which really threw us for a loop because, I mean, who wants to watch a show about shit?
Dude, what happened with... So it's Meet Me in Massachusetts. What? Rancid meat clog?
That episode was with another company called Shoreline Diving with this kid, Rick. Yeah, he had to clean I don't know what you call the thing, but it's what they call it, a grease trap. A giant underground grease trap full of meat and debris.
Oh shit! Was it like a packing plant or like a hot dog plant?
I don't know. I wasn't there for that.
Oh,
I wasn't there for it, and I don't watch any of the episodes, so I don't know. Well, what happened was we watched the first episode, and my whole family came over to watch the first episode, right? And they left, and they're doing a rerun that night. So I wanted to sit down and watch this thing, and my wife tells me, people act like you've been here before. People don't watch their own shit.
Yeah.
Like, made fun of me for wanting to see myself on TV. So after that, I never watched a single episode because she made fun of me.
No shit. So what are you up to now? I mean, you came down to the Brunt garage not too long ago. You were up here doing some work with the guys from Jersey. Shout out to them boys.
I was helping my friend out. He owns Aerobic Transport. It's a demolition company and garbage company. I had some downtime, so I helped him up in Mass, he was demoing mobile trailers for William Scottman. So
Yep.
I went up there and operated one of the machines for him, helped him out, go operating the cutting torch for the frames. And that was only a little help and a friend. But primarily I do diving. Today I was in a water plant. I don't only do sewage. I also do drinkable water. So that's a whole different set of gear and everything. I don't cross-contaminate. Don't get scared. I don't jump in a sewage tank and the next day, same suit, jump into a water tank. I have a whole different spread for that. But I was at American Water for the last couple of days dealing with their intakes were clogged. So they had 6 feet of soot inside their intake pipes. Wow. So I had to clean those out. That's what I was doing the last couple of days. And then before that, I worked over in Belleville. What was that?
No, go ahead. What were you doing over there?
Before that, I was over in Belleville. It was an interesting job. I'm going to leave out the names of the people who messed up. But a company was building something, and they were digging. And they hit an 18-inch sewer main. Whoops. So the town had to come in, and they had to plug up the main off of the sewer. So you had a 36-inch main that went off to a 18-inch pipe. They shattered that pipe. Shit went everywhere. A real shit show. Yep. I wrote my own jokes. And so they came and they plugged up that 18-inch main to fix the crack. So they go to deflate the ball they had to clog the main up. It wouldn't deflate. So now that main line is backing up out of the sewer holes and covering everything in shit. So I get a phone call at, 10 o'clock, and I got a text message, 10 o'clock at night. Hey, you busy? I'm like, no, what do you need? I lost my bag in the sewer. And I wrote back, I'm not diving in the sewer to get your drugs. So I thought he was busting my balls. He lost his bag in the sewer. And I started laughing. I'm like, I'm not diving in the sewer for your drugs, bud. You can't afford me. Buy new drugs. I made a little joke, and he's like, no. I lost a sewer bag. I was like, oh, that's terrible. And this is the day before Christmas Eve. It was on Christmas Eve. And he goes, I go, I'll come get it, but it's expensive. First of all, I'm already in my pajamas. It's number one. I got to change. Yeah. I got to go get my gear, and I got to go over here, and I got to dive in shit at 10:30 at night. No, thank you. It's going to cost you. So I gave him an outrageous price, thinking, let's call somebody else. No, they agreed. Like, outrageous price. So I did that recently. The last sewer dive was that. I had to go down there, deflate the ball, and bring it out.
It's actually wild that you say that, too, because I've been talking with a number of people in the trades, and in our industry, we call it the fuck you price. And because you don't want to do it or whatever. And I'm hearing more and more that there's not a ton of people out there to do these jobs. So that fuck you price actually isn't high enough. People are
no, it's like that out the baseline. Yeah.
Like,
listen, I'll come do it for 10 G's. And they're like, okay. I'm like, what?
Okay.
I could have got 12. Yeah, you'll have that.
We got to reassess our fuck you prices, right?
Yeah, it is. Like, I'm gonna start getting to like 100,000. I'll do it for 100 grand. Right. What? I want your vet you have in the garage. I'll do it for your Corvette.
So, the company that you work for now, is this your own company?
Yeah, so I'm the owner and operator of Siren Marine Solutions. Mm-hmm. We established in 2017.
Wow.
So it's very, very, thank you. It's funny. People say, oh, start your own business, make your own hours. No, you wake up and you work until you're exhausted. Then you work some more. And then you're the last one to get paid. You know, everything is your problem. People come in, they break your shit, they mismanage your equipment, and then they say, oh, they don't even say sorry. They're just like, it broke. You know, you just did a 12-hour day diving. Now you're fixing a piece of equipment. So there's no downtime. So it's good and bad. People are like, oh, congratulations. I'm always like, is it?
How much time and maintenance goes into upkeep of your suit, upkeep of your helmet, upkeep of the lines?
Oh, it's a daily occurrence. So it's not, let's see, for example, today. What did I do today? Today, the tip on my hot water machine burned up. It got clogged. Sorry, it got clogged. So I had to take out the oil burner on my hot water machine, and I had to fix that. And then halfway through the afternoon, my brother, he has a long history of this. He rips the pull cords out of shit. like constantly. It's like a thing he does.
Yeah.
So he ripped the pull cord out of the pressure washer, so I had to come fix that.
Yeah.
You know, it's when it comes to diving, it's not if it's gonna break, but when.
Yeah.
And it's every day something is gonna break. Now your helmet, you have to do a yearly inspection on it, but you have your general maintenance, cleaning your Snoopies out, cleaning the oral nasal that goes here, you know, upkeep of your comms, making sure it works. Just I call it the general douching of it. Because you're diving in, you know, if you're diving in shit that day, you really got to do a good job decomming it. You know, and that's time consuming. And then just the overall maintenance alone, just keeping your stuff clean, keeping it organized. You know, you have 6 or 7, 8 guys working for you that day. No one's putting the stuff back where it needs to go. You know, no one cares about your stuff like you do.
Yeah.
And you finish the day out, and all of a sudden you're cleaning the drills. You know, you're putting the batteries in the chargers. Just simple stuff like that. It's time consuming.
Yeah.
You go through all the toolboxes, gather all the batteries that weren't stolen, and then you got to plug them all in. And anything that broken or damaged or stolen that day, you got to replace. So I would say out of my average work week, I probably do about 15 hours of maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because like I used to do a lot of welding, and early on, when I was learning to weld, the welder that was teaching me would always have me do so much prep work ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Cutting, fitting, cleaning, you know, doing all that stuff. And then afterwards I would do grinding or whatever to clean it up and put it all back together, put the welder back up, welding blankets, jack stands, you name it, right? And it's funny because sometimes the customer only sees the time it takes to do the job, right? But there's so much setup ahead of time and so much breakdown after the fact that's all got to be factored into your pricing and what you do on a daily basis.
Dude, a lot of people don't understand that. So like that job I was talking about where I had to go get the sewer ball out, my total dive from the time I left surface, the time I came back was under a minute. Was under 1 minute long. But now I'm done. I leave. Now you're looking at 6 to 7 hours of decomming everything. You got to scrub the rigs down, the helmets, the suits, the trailer, because you have guys going in and out to get stuff and set up and break down, cross-contamination.
Right.
You know, and then you give them a bill for that, and they're like, whoa, what is this? You're here for 1 minute. Okay. Did I do your job? You know, you're paying for the end result, not for how long it took them. You know, a lot of people don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously diving in piss and shit and, you know, all the other contaminants that you're in.
The accoutrements.
Exactly. I'm sure that, you know, that's obviously tedious. Clean all that stuff. It's also, you know, a worry in the back of your mind of like coming in contact with the shit, you know, and having to deal with that. So, no, I mean, definitely hats off to you. I really want to ask this question. Give me a time that you thought you were completely fucked.
I had a couple of those.
Yeah.
I had a couple.
I'm sure you have.
I had one time I was digging in the center of the Hudson River, and the hole I dug collapsed on top of me.
Really?
So every breath you take, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And I had a guy come down and had to come get me out of the hole. That was a good one. Wow. I was in a sewer pipe, and I was about like maybe 40 feet in, and it was a tight sewer. I had like shimmy my fat ass through, and I got there, and I went to go forward, and my rig got fouled on something, so I couldn't go forward. So I knew I had to back up to get to where I needed to go to back up, and my rig on this side of me kind of looped over here, so I couldn't go forward and I couldn't come backwards, and no one could fit to come get me because I'm already in the hole. So that the front rig, you couldn't get to it, so I would have to come someone behind me and like undo my my tangled fucking mess to get out of the spot I was in. I was like, this is bullshit. This is it. They're gonna have to dig the street up to come get me. I was able to rock back and forth, and I think it was a branch or something by the opening of where I was in. And I just and it broke free, and I was able to unfoul myself and continue on. But it was like a good 10 seconds, which in a sewer pipe, 10 seconds might as well be a fucking hour, where you're just like, yep, this is it. This is where I die.
This is it.
This is me now.
Dude, and you continue to do it. Like, is this a
Oh yeah.
adrenaline rush? Is this a love for the
I was in
game?
a I
Like,
was in a pipe today. I
no
was
shit.
diving in a it was a what was it? It was a freshwater pipe, and I was I don't know 60 feet in, a 54-inch pipe. I keep cutting it
You
out. You
broke up
getting me?
there. Yeah, you broke up there for a minute. So you were in a pipe today?
So yeah, so when I was in the water plant today, I was 54-inch pipe, and I was about 60, 70 feet in. It just I don't even. It's not even those things where when I get in the water, my heart rate goes down. So like I have one of those watches that tells your heart rate and everything, and I'll be
Yeah.
sitting on my couch watching TV, and my heart rate's like 110, just sitting there. But I'll get in the water, and I'll be diving and doing whatever I'm doing. Excuse me, and my heart rate goes down to like 68, 70.
Cool.
So I don't think it's an
That's,
adrenaline thing for me.
yeah.
I think it's more of an ego thing because I can brag that I'll go where you don't go.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of
Yeah.
guys like, oh, I'll do it. I'll hand the helmet and be like, have fun. And they're like, nah, I'm only kidding. They won't do it.
Nah, I mean, even watching, again, back to your East River dive, watching Heavy D and Diesel Dave just like dive in there and like zero fucks given. And I don't know if I could do it. Like, I mean, there's certain things I could do, but like, I personally am afraid of heights. Confined spaces. I used to do a lot of work in like ship hulls and stuff like that, and I was one of the
Okay.
smaller guys at the time. I'm not anymore, but I was one of the smaller guys at the time. And there was a time where you're crawling through bilges, so you're crawling through bilge plates, and I
Yeah.
got and to your point, like when you were talking about them having to dig up the street, I was like, they're gonna have to get cutting torches in here to get me the fuck out. And you got a big reduction gear over your head, and like you would die before anything like of that nature would happen. And I don't know, that's when it started to fucking hit me that like I don't actually like putting myself in situations like this. And I don't like, now I have this preservation mode versus like that sense of adventure or like conquering something, you know what I mean?
You know, I love the fact that 90% of my work is never seen. So I absolutely love that. My daughter,
Yeah.
she has special needs, and those who know anything about raising a child with special needs, you deal with IEPs. So I'm in an IEP meeting, and this woman has all these degrees on her wall.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and she's telling me about what we need to do and how we need to do things. I'm like, well, what we need to do is you need to do your job.
Yeah.
Because when you're an advocate for your child, you're fighting for certain services that the school
Right.
doesn't want to pay for, right? And
Yeah.
she's like, how dare you tell me how to do my job? I'm like, how do you justify those degrees on your wall? All that time and energy. I got to tell you what. I do my job so well that when you drive over the bridge to get to this town every day to go to school, you think nothing of it. Now I want you to do your job that well. That I can just say, yes, she's doing the best for my child. You're doing great. She's like, I do every day. I'm like, you drove over this bridge, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, did you think about who worked on it? And she's like, no, I don't think about that stuff. So I take pride in the fact that no one thinks about the men and women that are building these bridges, the dams, the digging the tunnels out, and the ones that are down in the trenches that do it effortlessly, give up their mind, their bodies, their lives to make it happen, so everyone else can just go about their business and not think about it.
I mean, look at the poor bastards on the bridge in Baltimore, right? Road crew of what, 6 or 7?
Yeah.
All lost lives. You drive over any bridge on a daily basis or any highway on a daily basis.
You think nothing of it.
Or you're pissed off that they're fucking there, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you get mad about it. We get that a lot, especially in sewer work. We get that a lot because they see 3 guys standing around a manhole, right? They don't know that a guy's down there working on it because it's leaching into the ground. You know, we're patching it up so your soil isn't contaminated, and you're yelling at us.
Right. And the take there too is like, you know, unfortunately, you know, there was an accident in the Baltimore Harbor, and you know, these guys lost their lives, and now you're saying now they're getting the recognition, right? It takes loss of life sometimes for people to actually realize what some of these men and women go through during their day in the trades just to keep the infrastructure up, right?
You keep, just
Just
keep it
to
going.
keep America going, right? And it's wild. Yeah, I mean, like silent warriors, or sometimes you're out there jackhammering and you're not so silent.
Yeah,
But
sometimes you're an asshole, jackhammer at 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
I open my window and yell at those guys. Get a real job.
Be a hard hat diver.
Dude, I love going past construction crews on strike.
Yeah.
I love picket lines. I'm always like, get a job, you bum. They never laugh. I'm like, I'm in the union too. Keep up the good fight. The first one I give them is get a job.
Get a job. Get a job. No, and to be honest with you, those are the guys that, if they ever lose their job, they're right back out there trying to get another job. You know what I mean? And fighting the good fight. But dude, this has been unbelievable. Hard hat diving is honestly one of the coolest trades that I look up to, and I don't know. But before we go, I want to ask you another question. And what does Don want to do in life? Like, what's the next step for Don? Is it
so for us? I think one or two things would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I would like our podcast and just us goofing around doing dumb shit to get to almost like a Barstool Sports level, like the Dirty Waterways, where we can just go out and do dumb shit and film it. And, everyone just appreciates our content, us showing up. Or I think we would also like to revamp the TV presence, and we would like to just be New York City like treasure hunters and just spend our days diving in all the celestial bodies of water around New York and New Jersey and just chase all those ghost ship stories and see if they're true. Like, who was it? LaGuardia, back in the day, dumped all these slot machines in Long Island Sound because he deemed them to be bad, right? I want to go find those slot machines. I want to bring up those slot machines and then refurb them. I want to find Captain Kidd's treasure. I want to go into New York Harbor. Yeah, remember, you're talking 200 years of it being a navigable waterway that we think of today.
Mm-hmm.
And anything you can imagine is the bottom of that river.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just spend my days just looking for treasure.
Yeah.
But I don't want that treasure like you think of like the Caribbean treasure. I want the treasure that comes with the story.
Yeah. Well, the Caribbean treasure wouldn't be bad either.
That'd be cool too. But see, I was about 6 years ago. I was diving in the Long Island Sound. No, I'm sorry. I was in Hudson River, and I was airlifting. I was moving mud with an airlift, and something clogged my airlift. So I took it out. I put it in my pocket. I come up to land when I was all done for the day, and I open up this aluminum foil wrapped object. I'm like, oh, it's a kilo. I'm rich. I open it up, and it was 2 champagne glasses from 1991 saying, "Will you marry me?" on it with the names.
Mm-hmm.
I tracked down the owner of those glasses, the husband. Now they live on Worcester Street in Manhattan. He proposed to her on the Spirit of New York, and those are the champagne glasses. They were leaving the vessel at the end of the night, and they dropped them overboard in 1991. And in 2020, I returned them to him. Like, getting a gold coin is cool and everything like that, but to be able to reconnect lost history that you think is gone forever, you know what I mean? And now they're celebrating their whatever year anniversary, they can retoast to those glasses that they got engaged with.
Yeah, I got to wash them off. But
the guy gave me a little something for finding them, but it was nice. It was nice to reconnect him with his stuff.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So, Don, this has been great. You've been a huge supporter of Brunt, huge advocate for the trades. You're out in the trade schools, telling your story, teaching the kids about what you do and what it takes to be a tradesman or woman.
Tradesperson.
I appreciate tradesperson, or I appreciate you coming on the podcast. And if anybody wanted to reach out to you about hard hat diving or anything that you do, where can they find you?
Primarily, they hit me up on my social media platforms, which is Dirty Water Don.
Mm-hmm.
I answer everybody. I get a lot of weird messages, but I always make it a point to answer everyone that messages. Feel free to reach out. Any questions, concerns. Hey, if you want to come hang out, let me know. And, if you ever want to go put a hat on, we'll dive.
Hell yeah.
I say, come on, let's go do it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Good stuff. Always looking for good, hardworking people. And if you have the inkling to do what Don does, reach out.
And as a special thanks to our loyal listeners, we're giving $10 off your next purchase of $60 or more at bruntworkwear.com. Use discount code BucketTalk10. That's BucketTalk10